Hello everyone, welcome to Dice Commando. This is Andrew and I'm here with John Snape. We're going to do a tournament report. How's it going, John?
I'm going good, thanks, Andrew. Nice to
Great.
be here.
Yeah. So can you tell the community about yourself? I know you've been a viewer for a while, but yeah, go ahead and tell us about yourself.
So obviously based in the UK. I picked up Destiny March this year. Might have been a bit later than March, but it was around about that time. Was playing X-Wing, really liked the look of Destiny, picked up the two-player box set, played a game, picked up a second two-player box set so we could play a proper game. And then just the last sort of 7, 8 months, just been playing, and trying to really get into the game and the competitive side of it.
Great. So I had kind of asked you to give us a rundown. What prime did you go to this weekend?
So it was the first UK Prime event in Derby, which is middle of the UK. It's sort of like halfway up or halfway down.
Fair enough. I'll put a map up since we'll be doing this on the YouTubes.
Cool.
So what did you bring?
So just to give a bit of history on that, there was another podcast, you may know of it, the Garbage Will Do.
Sure.
They ran an event, which was their anniversary event a few weeks back, and this was just at the time of the Balance of the Force got announced for the change to Watt and C3PO, etc. But up to that event, I'd been really practicing the Jabba 3 wide, the Jabba, Watt Tambor, and Sentinel Messenger, and I've been really practicing it a lot. And obviously, after the change, I've been practicing droids, been trying something different.
Were you going the chopper droids, the teen droids, or?
I was going to teen AR droids.
Okay, great.
My friend Aaron, he used to play the Fat Falcon deck, with Anakin, the engineer, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to love, he used to kick my bottom quite a lot with that deck, but I really used to like it. So when the AR Satine came out, and I was like, kind of not a semi-light Fat Falcon deck, because you don't run the mods so much, and then you just do the resets. So I was quite interested in that. But I've practiced that pretty much since the Balance of the Force to just before the weekend. But we play test a lot with friends on a certain simulator. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say their name or not.
I think everybody knows what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, but I've got a lot of friends in the Midlands. I've got friends around the UK. Locally, it's a bit hard to get games in, so we just use that to play test what we want to take to tournament. So we've been running other decks and we've been trying the things out we might want to swap to. But the night before, I literally was like, I'm just not comfortable. The AR Satine, for me, at my skill level, had a very high ceiling, and it's insane ceiling. I've had turns where I've had 17 resources worth of supports out on turn one. That's when you get the kind of god hand with the god rolls and everything goes right. But I've also had the other end where I've been utterly destroyed because I couldn't get any ramp going at all.
Sure.
So I wasn't confident in myself. So I've been in the background. I've been practicing alternative Jabba 3 wide decks. I've been practicing. There's a 4 TIE fighters I've seen being run somewhere and different versions. But I'd also got to a point where I was quite comfortable losing the entourages and the Fickles and the Hired Muscles and just taking as many red supports as you could. And the night before, I literally decided to change it. I woke up the next morning and was like, right, I've got to pack a list. What list am I packing? I'd had so much practice with the Jabba 3 wide. I'd had so much practice against other decks. I was just like, this is what I'm comfortable running. So that's what I took.
Yeah,
so it was a last minute decision.
You had written up a nice go through for it, so I'm actually going to be showing, as we go through, I'm going to be showing kind of your write-up, but yeah, why don't you just kind of walk us through it?
What, the list, or do you want the like the actual tournament itself?
Oh yeah, just a tournament report. I don't want to make anybody give any super secret lists away during Prime season. So
There's nothing too secret. I mean, it's the core is the cultural records, mega blasters, siege tanks, hover tanks, and Vader's fists.
sure.
And then there's the delves, there's some removal, and then there's like the odd well connected and truce mixed in with some probes and counterintelligence. It's nothing like amazing. It's just what I've played a lot of and what I was comfortable with. A couple of little cards of spice, which I won't mention, but yeah. So it was held at the Boards and Swords event, at the Boards and Swords store up in Derby. We had 28 players, which was not a bad turnout. There was at least sort of 4 to 6 players that I knew personally that weren't going due to Worlds. Some had already out there, some were flying out there the next day. So we would have hit probably about 32 easily. So we did 6 rounds to start with. Would you like a quick summary of each round?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. You had
Yeah.
done a good job of that in your write up. So yeah.
Okay.
Basically,
So
anything you think people might want to know.
yeah. Okay. So game 1, I played against a nice guy called Ollie. He'd bought the Phasma Kylo combo, which is obviously seen a bit of play now because of the Raylo easy, easy to hit that blue card and do that extra 2 damage. We played it. He wasn't confident because obviously the rainbow. I had, unfortunately for Ollie, I had the God hand. I opened up my first hand. I had Fist, Delve, and a counterintelligence. Don't know what the other 2 were. Threw them away. I got another Delve and a siege tank.
Whoa.
Yeah, siege cannon. Yeah. Then I rolled Jabber out, and I get the +2/+2 money. I'm like, okay, well, I've got the Sentinel and the Watt to roll out, and if I hit a money, I'm going to get some money, hopefully, or he has to remove both my Sentinel or Watt Tambor dice. I roll out, I think it was Watt, I can't remember, got the money, looked over, waiting for the removal, and he just looked like with a kind of sigh of like, I can't remove that dice. For whatever reason, I can't remember what removal we had, he just couldn't remove that particular dice. So my next turn, I claimed 5 money. So I was on 7 money with 2 delves in hand.
Woof.
Yeah. So I counterintelligence, took out the removal that he did have, played double delve, played a fist and a siege tank, and unfortunately from there it was sort of downhill from there for him.
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah, we finished in less than sort of 15 minutes. I was discussing the list afterwards to him. I said, look, I'm running a lot of red, so what you really want to be calling is probably more red. Yeah, there are a lot of blue and there is a bit of yellow in there, but really you just want to kind of go for the red, where he was waiting for me to use Jabber and take a yellow card, and then he was sort of trying to hit that yellow card.
I see.
Yeah, which was, a fair enough idea, but I said, no, look, so we played again, just for fun. And he actually destroyed me.
Okay.
Yeah, so he got his confidence back. We had another nice game, and we had a nice little conversation and talk. So yeah, it was a good game 1. But it obviously started well for me. So you get your confidence up, and you always that first game. You always get that nerves, and you're kind of unsettled, aren't you?
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Great.
So if you are running against the Jabber 3 wides, maybe try calling red, is what I would maybe give the advice to. So moving on to game 2, I'm trying to think. I played, I think his name was Simon. I apologise, I'm really bad with remembering names. So if I get your name wrong, I apologise. And Simon was running a very interesting deck. It was single dice Phasma 2, Django, the new one. Is it 2 or 3? I can't remember because.
Oh, is he any running with profitable or?
Yeah, I think he must have been running it. Um, it's the new Django from the Spark of Hope,
Right.
and he was running Talazin. I can't remember what battlefield he was running.
Oh, it
I
was
apologise.
Talzin. Oh. Sorry.
Yeah, um, and so what he does is he kind of just like loads up Django, and then plays like Bacta for the
Sure.
heals.
Sure.
Obviously, wasn't in my kind of gauntlet, so it was kind of like nervous of what I'll do about it, and I was just thought, stick to my game plan, get some resources, get some stuff out, start rolling dice, try to mitigate the removal via probe and counterintelligence. Um, and yeah, I mean, I'd killed Talazin and Phasma. I'd lost Jabbar and half of Watt and the Sentinel. Half of Watt, and I still had the Sentinel. And then on turn 3, he rolls out Django. I think he took Watt off the board, but then I still had Sentinel, and I can't remember what I had, but I had enough support where I could just throw enough damage into him, just roll everything out, and then you just sort of focus through and keep rolling until you hit the dice that you need to kill him. So I killed him at turn 3. But yeah, he was there with his son, so that was good. So we had it was another good game for me. But I did feel like I was on a kind of a positive feeling because I'd had 2 games now against 2 decks that I hadn't really played much against. So yeah,
And then, so just to clarify, you said that. So was that single die Django?
yeah, it
Okay, so it
was,
was a three die start.
yeah,
Oh, I gotcha.
yeah.
Okay.
Um, I actually think he won the battlefield. Actually, can't remember. I didn't win many battlefield roll-offs the weekend. So if I got normally I would be struggling for the money up front, which is obviously what you want to try and do to the Jabba deck. But focus a lot of dice, and you can easily do 8 damage. So you can easily take out a droid or one of the lower health, like 3 wide supports, quite easily in 1 turn. And it hits hard and fast, and it's hard to remove that many dice. Obviously, I've played against it a lot. We've play tested it a ton. He must have beaten me 90% of the games. But we never, funny enough, play tested it against the Jabba 3 wide because it wasn't on my mind to run it. We were testing it against different versions of droids. So I sat down and yeah, I opened up with a Desperate Measures in my hand. So and he wanted to try and get a mega out. So we were trying to play around this, and he was embargoing stuff. I can't remember the exact game, but I think he embargoed Fist because he used counterintelligence on me and saw a Fist in my hand. Obviously, I'm trying to get the Desperate Measures. Oh, no, I think I drew the Desperate Measures with Jabba. He was trying to get me to use the Desperate Measures on the embargo. So once the Desperate Measures are gone, he could then play the Mega Blasters.
Sure.
The
Yeah.
Troopers. So it was a little bit of like, he knew what I had, and we were trying to play games. I can't remember what I did. I think I just power actioned my Mega because I drew a Mega Blasters as well. So I think I just pulled that in, and then when he claimed, I then Desperate Measured his battlefield. I Desperate Measured his embargo, and then I got another couple of resources, and then played the Fist anyway. So I actually got a Fist and a Mega out on turn 1.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like your
that.
first round. Should be all downhill from there, right?
Yeah, it might have been I got the Fist out on the start of turn 2, but it would be one of the first actions I played. I can't remember because there was a lot of games that weekend, and I'm quite tired. It's like about 9 p.m. here, and it's been a long weekend for me.
Yeah, that's
Getting
completely
too
fair.
old. But yeah, turn two rounds. I played very solid. So did Aaron. we both know each other very well, and we both really wanted to win it. Also, this was being recorded. I don't know if it ever get put up on YouTube or anywhere, but if it does, it's definitely going to be one I'm going to rewatch, because my round 3, the turn 3, I was so far ahead. He had 1 wound left on Sentinel, and I don't know, I probably had about 12 to 16 wounds available, and I was just playing like a muppet. I was just like, I was so giddy inside that I'd finally beaten that deck list that he takes, that he's beaten me relentlessly with for the last 2 weeks, 3-4 weeks probably. I was just playing like really bad plays. I was just like, I'm just going to keep rolling dice. I'm going to keep rolling dice until I hit some damage, and then I'll kill you. But I made some really terrible plays. So I kind of want to see the video to watch it back to sort of cringe at. But yeah, it was a good game. So at the end of that, I was 3-0. So I was feeling quite good. I will say though, that deck, I think he's posted it under the Star Wars database, Destiny database. That deck will catch people out these days, because people have forgotten about it, and it can do so much. The only problem is though, is that it really does struggle against some of the really fast, like the Faithful Companion chopper decks, because he can't get to mitigate any dice.
Right.
And if you lose Phasma, he's got to have a ton of supports out, in the hope that Sentinel can obviously stay alive long enough to get all the supports out to kill someone off. But seriously strong deck. Seriously strong deck. I suggest people go and have a look at that again now. My game 4, it was a mirror match. I apologise, I can't remember his name. I'd like to say Jamie, but I could be completely wrong. But again, I had a little bit of luck on my side. I drew a Desperate Measures, and then when I activated Jabba, I drew another Desperate Measures. And my opponent didn't draw any. In fact, I think both of his were at the bottom of his deck, or I think he got one out quite late. But it was like by then he didn't really want to take 5 indirect from a fist, or 4, even 4 from a mega. So I can't quite remember the whole game. I just remember the fact that I got a good draw with the Desperate Measures in my hand, and then I drew a second one. So as long as I kept those cards in my hand, I could mitigate anything he put down. In fact, he put the fist down on turn 1. Without hesitation, I threw the Desperate Measures down. And he said afterwards, he goes, I saw you have it, because I saw Jeb obviously take it. And he goes, I was like, I'm going to do nothing in turn 1, so I might as well play the fist and get at least 5 damage on you. Unfortunately, he didn't know I had the second one in hand. So at the start of turn 2, when I drew a card in from Jabra, I can't remember what it was. It would have been obviously a yellow, probably a Well Connected or something. And then when I put that in my hand, he was trying to play his supports. And of course, as soon as he put his next support out, I then just Desperate Measured that one too. So it was a bit of a hard match for him.
Sure.
Because of that. So.
Yeah, well, you can. I mean, in his defense, you can only go off what info you have, right? So fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of us in that situation, you sometimes got to take the gamble, haven't you?
Sure, absolutely.
I mean, otherwise you're doing nothing. It's not like Sentinel's not going to kill me after. It might kill me after sort of 4 or 5 turns if he keeps getting those 2 melees, but you've got to put some supports out and then see what happens. So I moved on to game 5, and it was a guy called Kane who was playing E Watto, E Palpatine, and do I say where he came at the end? Do you want to spoil it? Do we want to get to the spoilers, or?
Oh yeah, that's fine. If he ended up taking it, then yeah.
Yeah. So he ended up being the winner. He very good player, plays the deck extremely well. Don't think he made a single mistake or even minute error He knew exactly what he was doing every turn and what he wanted to achieve. He did a very good play, which I'll get onto. But my opening hand, I had counterintelligence, looked at his hand, saw he had Nim Mastery, Nim Mastery. I've played against that deck enough that it's one of those cards that annoys me because you can just special chain. And it's very annoying because if you get the special on the Nim Mastery, you can special into the Sith Teachings, you can special into the Full Storm, even a False Jump. You know, the combinations they have access to, not limitless, but are quite wide, and you can't control what they're going to do. So I had Embargo in my hand, and I slapped down Embargo and called Nemo Mastery. Back of my head, I was thinking maybe I should take the Bacta healing tank, but I was like, if I don't stop his special train now, I'm going to be in trouble. I got a Mega out, which was quite helpful because the Megas have lots of dice, and he can only force jump one of them a turn. So you can force jump reroll, even if he gets a special. I've then still got a chance to resolve. I was rolling something, I can't remember what it was. It was probably the fist or something, where I was rolling lots of indirect damage. And we got into a bit of a joke where it was indirect direct, because it was just going on to poor Watto. So it was the indirect direct damage to Watto. So there was a lot of that going on. So I managed to kill Watto, and I was like a couple of damage short. I think it was about 4 damage short on Palpatine. And then the next, so this is the really good play he done. So I had 1 dice in the pool. The best I could get on that dice was 2. I've got a funny feeling, I can't remember what dice it was, but there was a 2 range on it. And that was the best I was going to get for. And that would have put Palpatine with 2 wounds left going into the next round, instead of 4 wounds left. So I used a couple of cards to re-roll it. I had 1 card left. Kane was passing. And then I thought, I think I'd rather just claim, forget the dice, and then next turn at least I can roll out like the Mega or something that hits big before he gets to activate Palpatine and gets all those specials out. So I claimed. He then Watto power actioned using my dice, hit the one he called, and then got the extra money, and then played the back to healing.
Oh yeah.
So really nice little play by him. So it meant he went into the next round with his refresh of 2 money, and he'd healed 4 damage off him. So now Palpatine's on like 8 health to kill. So through that next round, I managed to kill Watt just because of the indirect direct damage. I just couldn't seem to get those dice to get me those guns. And then once he rolls Palpatine out, it's very hard because he's just mitigating all your dice all the time. And eventually he got enough swords to and false lightning storms to kill my characters. So it was my first loss. But really good game, really good player. So yeah, that's definitely a deck. Those Palps are making a comeback.
Absolutely. I just think we're seeing that across the world right now. Yeah.
Do you get many Palps in your local meta?
Well, Palp had just won the Portland Prime this last weekend, so, or I guess 2 weekends ago. I guess, sorry, at this point.
Oh, and that was your local one, was it?
Correct.
I've been
yeah.
Going through your videos slowly when I get a chance. So yeah, cool. So game 6, I'm now 5-1. Sorry, 4-1. I know 5-1 would definitely get me top 8. 4-2 is going to be depending on other people. So I kind of really wanted to win this game. I get drawn against another friend called Gareth. He's running the 5 dice chopper. So E-chopper, EC3PO, and single R2. Again, I've played this deck quite a lot with him over the last sort of few weeks. I was confident and he was nervous. I had a bad turn one. He had an average turn one. Oh no, sorry. I had an average turn one. He had a bad turn one. Then he had an awesome turn two, like really good turn two. And then I stalled. It was like I was going uphill in a car and I stalled the engine and I couldn't get it going again. And then it kind of went downhill from there. So yeah, it was a bit tough. But like Gareth's a really good player as well. And that deck, when it wants to and it can roll the dice, it can hit hard and fast, even without as much action cheating as the 4 dice with Faithful combination.
Yeah, and that was the end of that was 6. That was the end of your Swiss because you said 6 rounds, right?
Yeah, that was it.
So you were 4 and 2 for Swiss then.
Yep.
Was that good enough for top cut?
It was.
Awesome.
There was a bit of confusion because they entered the data incorrectly. They entered the data that I'd won and Gareth had lost. So when they were doing the rankings, Gareth was like about sort of, I can't remember, 7th, 8th, and then I was up at 2nd. And like we looked at, like Gareth pointed out, I was too tired at the time, but it was Gareth pointed out and went, you shouldn't be that high. So they rejigged it. Lucky enough, there was only one person that had to drop at the top 8. I still got 4th or 5th. Can't remember what it was. And so yeah, managed just to make the cut, which was nice for me because I've never made a cut in my life. In fact, this is only my 3rd biggest UK event, so not excluding little local events. So I was happy with that. I was happy that I'd made mistakes, but I knew the mistakes I'd made, and I'd played well with myself. So I was happy with that, and I was happy I got top 8 cut. So it was already a win for me as far as I was concerned.
And that sweet playmat, right?
Yeah. Well, FFG haven't got the EU prize kits out yet.
Oh, okay. Well, an IOU for a playmat.
Yeah. It's a bit sour because there's a lot of, like, the EU tends to get things quite late. Like when the Spark was released, while all pre-orders were released on the right day, on the launch day, or the release day, sorry, anything other than pre-orders was 2 to 4 weeks later. So there were lots of people in Europe that couldn't get their hands on the cards, and it's also a bit frustrating because you get a new set out, and for a local meta that's trying to keep the game alive, like, people are playing these games, you're watching YouTube videos, you're playing on the simulator, but you can't get your hands on the cards for like 4 weeks, so you can't even do like drafts. It's a bit frustrating, and so this is another one of those kind of like, people would like to say FFG don't care about Europe, but we know that's not true. It's obviously they have to make a choice because they've only got so many prize kits. So, and they have to be shipped around the world for different play areas, and I'm sure there's a logistical reason why they're not around. But obviously, it was a little bit upsetting for some players. However, the store were very good. They supplemented a load of Spark boosters as a compensation, which was very nice of them. And they also commissioned. Have you seen these kind of gloss alternate art cards?
They just did some custom in-house ones, or?
Yeah, so yeah, commissioned someone to do them. It's the same people they used for the Garbage Will Do when they did their Django card. They used the same company. So it's a Forsaken card. So it's got a really nice Vader look. I'll see if I can get you a nice picture or something and send it to you.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think the guys would like to see that. Perfect.
Yeah. So that was nice of them. So we all did go home with something, so that was good. Um, so I made the top eight cut, and I got drawn against Gareth again with
Oh yeah.
his chopper deck again. Um, and we're friends, we're chatting away at the start, and he goes, I think I got lucky last time. I'm not sure I'm going to get lucky again. We played round one, and it played out how both of us kind of expected it to play out, where he kills a character off, but I've got too many supports, and then I just blow him up. And I quite convincingly easily won game one. So going to game two, I'm feeling confident again. Um, he's turn two, he rocket boosts Chopper with the grappling arm. He gets the two melee on Chopper, and then he gets the it was a +1 or +2 on the grappling arm. He's got the salvage arm on him, so he's resolving 6 or 7 damage straight into Watt and just kills him. Boom, like that. And from that point on, I was struggling. He also got the 2 indirect on the rocket booster as well, so I had to take another 2 damage somewhere. It was like the perfect roll he could have made. So yeah, it was game two. Yeah, I scooped quickly because
Okay, yeah, you just called it and went in.
because
Yeah.
game three, like we've got the timer on the side. I can see we've got 20 minutes left. I'm looking at it going, I've tried to play the round two out. I haven't done enough damage to him. Is there a chance I could win? Possibly. Is there a better chance I could win round three? Yes. I was really badly on the back foot, so I just went, okay, let's go into game three. We played game three, very close, very close. I had a siege cannon. I had a resource. Actually, I had many resources. I had Watt's handboard power actioned the siege cannon in, so I hadn't even used delve. And I got the a blank. I think it was a blank. Yeah. I re-rolled it with a card. I think I re-rolled a couple of other dice as well with it, and I got the 3 disrupt. Obviously, I didn't get a focus elsewhere, so Gareth's sitting on 2 resources. I can't remember what he played, but he used his 2 resources up. So now I'm in that dilemma of, do I resolve the dice and then just get the roll from the activation, or do I just keep throwing cards away? And I've only got 2 cards. I think I had 1 card left at the time. So I'm like, all right, I'll resolve the dice's 3 disrupt. Doesn't remove any resources. I take it, I activate the siege cannon again. I remember, sorry. He had an automated defense, and I had to try and get the automated defense out of his hand. So I power actioned in the culture records, and it's when I re-rolled that dice, I had to re-roll that dice to get the special, and then he automated defensed the special. Because otherwise I would have resolved the special and then removed the automated defense anyway. So yeah, that was what I was trying to do before I could roll the tank out the next time. Roll the tank out and I get the 3 disrupt, and I'm like, I just need any gun, and I could have killed off Chopper. So last card, ditch it, re-roll, get the blank, and yeah, my heart sighed a bit at that point.
No dice, huh?
Yeah. Went into turn 3, and it was probably an instigate. I can't remember what it was. Or it might have just been the rocket booster alone. Don't remember. This was the end of the very long day. I was up at 2 a.m. still playing Battlestar. Went to bed. Woke up in the morning with a slight hangover. Been playing all these games. by now I'm exhausted. He does chopper action cheats, kills off my sentinel, and that was game.
Oh man.
So yeah, unfortunate, but it was nice that obviously one of us was going to go through to top four, and my friend Aaron, who was playing the Phasma Sentinel, he'd managed to get into the top 8 and he'd won his game. So both of them went into top 4. So 3 of us were in top 8, so we were happy with that. And 2 of them were in top 4.
Well, that's a good showing by your team. Yeah, great job.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice. We'd put a lot of practice in before that to try and find a deck that we wanted to play, because the meta is completely random at the moment. There's so many decks popping up these days. I think it's fantastic.
So I guess that was into your tournament. You already said that the ultimate winner was the Palpwado.
Yeah.
Anything else you want people to know about before we wrap this up?
In second came the Elite Forlum with the Grievous and Sentinel Messenger deck.
Oh, okay. That seems to be doing work these days.
I never got to face it. We tried playtesting against it, but none of us could get our heads around how to work it 100%. You know the general idea of it.
Yeah, but I agree. I'm actually in the same boat as you. I don't quite get on paper functionally how it works, but obviously the thing's doing work. So
I spoke to the gentleman that was running it, and he was saying, but basically you load up one character with all the downgrades, you kill them off quickly, and then you move on. Because you get all the money, you get to play an upgrade. You can do all those sort of things, and then you steamroll. Once you get the first kill, you just start to steamroll. And obviously with things like 3 wides, I'm assuming that it's very easy to kill the first one, and then you steamroll into the second, and then by then the third one's, if it's not killing you, you're in trouble. I'm assuming that's how it goes.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I've seen it run with supports. I think mainly, right, it runs like Fist, which I think, like you said, I think it uses those bounties to get it in. So I don't know. I'll have to do some practice with it and see if I can get my head around it. So
yeah, it's a very interesting deck. It's one of the ones that I'd like to maybe pick up next and have a look at, but it does take, I think, a lot of practice to get the way it works properly. But yeah, it was a great event. So thank you for the guys that ran it, by the way, if you're listening. And would you like to ask anything else?
no, I think that's pretty much it. I just want to thank you for taking a huge chunk out of your time. I know that because I'm in the US and obviously you're in the UK, there's a time difference. So I appreciate you working around and trying to make it work. This is really, really awesome.
No worries. Anytime. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. Hey, so we're going to check out, but this was a UK tournament or UK Prime report. And again, thanks to John Snape for dialing in, and shout out to him and his buddies back home. So if nothing else, John, thanks again. And
thank you.
Go Commando.
Go Commando.
Hey, what's up, you guys? This is Symbio from T3 Gaming. I just wanted to shout out Dice Commando. Check them out. We're happy that it's a 1-year anniversary. Like and subscribe to all their awesome in real life content, and definitely keep rolling those dice. #GoCommando.